Let's try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. We are calling to order the Kane County Elected Officials Salary Review Ad Hoc Committee of Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. The purpose of the committee.
Would you like me to call roll?
No, it's number 2.
All right, go ahead.
The purpose of the ad hoc committee shall be to recommend compensation for the county board members and the elected officials who are up for re-election in 2022, including the treasurer, sheriff, county clerk, and county board members. The committee may also include at this time the county board chairman. The committee may make similar recommendations for the remaining elected officials that will be up for re-election in 2024 and may make recommendations regarding health insurance. Please call the roll for the committee members.
Berman.
Here.
Ford.
Present.
Wodnicki.
Present.
Pirog.
Here.
Sturgis.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Ron, we have a very pretty color printed version of this that you probably don't have. And Jamie, did we send that to Ron at all?
No, but I can have someone upstairs.
Okay, and John, Ron, I'll make sure you get this, but some of the stuff that we're reading is just printed in the agenda item. So.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so there are no minutes to approve as this is our first meeting. Public comments? No one in the room or online?
Mr. Chairman, should I wait or should I speak now? This is Mo Iqbal.
Mo, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you. As you know, I have raised a question about board members' health insurance package that they have been getting. And I believe, and it's quite obvious that we, the board members, are part-timers and not eligible to get that benefit. And if our salary is $25,000, this package is more than $25,000. So really, it's not proper. And I would like the committee to address this question and come up with a total package which the taxpayers have to pay. If we just simply say we are getting 25, that would not be a true statement. We are getting more than 50. So I would like this committee to address that issue. Whatever it is, it should be transparent. Thank you.
And Dr. Iqbal, I will respond because you have brought this through the Human Services Committee that I chair. And I am not aware in any way, shape, or form that anybody has ever said that our compensation is limited to $25,000. That in the past, the compensation has been a per diem amount. It has been a salaried amount. It has been a salaried amount plus retirement benefits. It has been a salaried amount plus retirement benefits plus health insurance. And this current system that we're at now is a $25,000 base salary, regardless of the committees you serve on, the amount of time you put in. You get $25,000 period, and it does include the ability to get participate in the health insurance plan on the same split that all the other employees are available to, and approximately 12 of the 24 commissioners do participate in that. So in terms of transparency, I think that statement is absolutely as transparent as I could possibly make it. And I don't believe that anybody here or any circle that I exist in has ever said that it's only $25,000. Mo, I'll be honest with you, when I ran for the board or was asked to serve, I had no idea that there was compensation, much less that there was health benefits available. So, I mean, that was a secondary notion. But we will address all that, and we will, let's continue on just a bit, but thank you, duly noted, and you've been nothing but consistent with this over the past couple of years. So under new business, recommendations from the Community Advisory Committee. So Madam Chair had put together a panel of 3 people that from outside of the electorate that met and reviewed a volume of information. And it looks as though, if I can read, the committee, meaning the Community Advisory Committee, is in agreement with offering a 5% pay increase with a 2% annual increase for 4 years. They came to a consensus with keeping the salary of board members at $25,000 per year, with the request to board members to have a discussion on health insurance. Now, Madam Chair, I've read this, I saw this, I was able to cut and paste it, but when it says the committee is in agreement with an offering of 5% pay increase with a 2% annual for 4 years, I don't know who they were referring to in that statement.
That is in reference to the elected officials, this countywide.
So the countywide elected officials.
And the Kane County Board is exempt from that recommendation.
Okay, understood. I'm just making sure,
What was the last statement?
The county board was not included in that. It's the elected officials of the county that was their recommendation. So my purpose today isn't to come up with any recommendations. It isn't to steer. It's just to make sure that the members of this ad hoc committee understand what the charter of the committee is, get all the issues out there, make sure that we're staying very focused on what we're supposed to be doing, give you as much information as we have available to date, and get ready for give you some time to dissect that, if you will, compile that, and now, do some analysis so that the next time we meet, we can move forward. Right now, I want to identify the positions to be held, the identify positions to be included. Right now, we need to look at the treasurer, the sheriff, the county clerk, and the 24 county board members. If I'm mistaken on that, please let me know, but I think that's specifically who we're charged with. However, we may include, but may defer to the 24 cycle, the county board chair and those remaining elected officials. Anybody have any questions with who we're working with and what we're doing? I will eventually come to a point where I'm asking the question, and I'm not looking today, but will you be looking to put everybody into one cycle? Or are you looking to just do the sheriff, treasurer, county clerk, and county board members now and look at those other elected officials later? There's not a right or wrong answer. Just understand that that's a question that we have to answer. Establishing methodology for comparisons. I do want to put the first one up there, House Bill 4700. It seems that the sheriff's office is in my opinion, the greatest differential that we have out there. What our sheriff makes comparative to his peers, comparative to municipalities, the sheriff's office is lacking. We need a giant jump forward. However, rather than just do a comparative analysis, it looks as though the state legislature has said, we may make that decision for you. And House Bill 4700 has passed and I believe is waiting for signature. But the passage says the sheriff shall receive 80% of the salary of the state's attorney. So in this particular comparison, I think we said, Jamie, help me with this.
Shall not be less than 80%.
80%.
Could
So
be more.
Could be more, absolutely. But I think Jamie is at 180, the state's attorney's office, state's attorney is at 189, 80% would put the sheriff's office at a minimum of 151. The good news on that jump is that it looks as though within that House bill, the state will be picking up a chunk of that payment, 2/3 of it, right, up to 2/3 of it on behalf. And so sheriff gets a raise, but the county doesn't get hit with the whole nut on that. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. However, I do not believe it is passed. So
yeah, passed or signed?
Ken, I'm being honest with you, I'm getting mixed reviews. One person says it's passed both chambers and is waiting for signature. The state's attorney's office told me this morning it only passed one section and is waiting. And I said, I thought they've adjourned. I wasn't aware. So we need to come up to, so my question to you becomes—
really a knowable fact.
What's that?
This is really a knowable fact.
Unknowable.
Yes.
Knowable. I mean,
Knowable,
this-
as if we should already know this. And feel free, sir. And but the question is, if it did not or has not been signed, what do we do?
If I may, the salary, suggested salary, approximately 155,000, I think is what I heard. I think there's two decisions you can make. One, or recommend to the board. That seems to be an appropriate salary independently of whether or not this bill has passed or not. If the bill has passed, that seems remarkably beneficial to us, but it has not. I would defend your thoughts on the sheriff. Every day that that individual who has that office gets up, his life is in danger or her life is in danger. There's absolutely no question about that at all. So
What's
this
the bill
individual is
number?
truly putting their life in harm's way to serve the people of Kane County.
Madam Chair, I am just one vote, but I am in absolute concurrence with you.
Yeah.
When I
second that.
Yeah, when I was asked to review this before, Audrey said, well, what are you thinking for the sheriff? And I said, I'm thinking it should be 160. And she challenged me and she said, why do you say that? And I said, because if I look at the responsibilities that we're asking of him in comparison to other, and I understand that I'm comparing a county sheriff to a municipal police chief. Those police chiefs in the area are in the 140 to 160 range with a fraction of the responsibilities that we're asking our sheriff. And again, this is one of the things that I often say,
Amendment
I
one.
don't understand where our countywide officials start and stop when we have reciprocal agreements that go 24/7. So while he is only the sheriff of the unincorporated areas of the county, I think that's hogwash, because if there was a sheriff call to Pratt in Aurora or something up in Carpentersville, those sheriff's departments are there immediately as backup to everybody else. And Ron is a 24/7 hands-on sort of guy. Barb, give me 1 second. Ken, what are you?
I just got two things. One is the sheriff is also the first and only responder for several incorporated.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Village of
Yeah.
Little Lake, and I think others, and is currently doing the night shift for the Village of Wayne.
Correct.
Okay, so this,
Have you found that or not?
I have found it. I'm
And
looking.
where there was a recent murder.
Senate for
Wayne.
Amendment 1. Motion to confer. Oh,
Well,
refer to rule.
While you're looking at that, Barb, what did you have?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I know we're supposed to be looking at the position itself. However, our sheriff has also gone over and above being out there, in the crime areas or the crime scenes. But he's also, he's put together the rehab program at the jail. And he's also has the jobs program going for training people who have been incarcerated and come out and they need work. So I just 100% agree with you, Cliff, and with Madam Chair.
Well, from
Mr. Chairman, Ford.
it's Berman speaking now.
Let
Go ahead.
Berman go and then we'll come back to you, Ford.
All right.
From a municipality standpoint, the work with the county sheriff is just tremendous. They work together on everything. If there is a situation within that they come in and investigate, they do the investigation of all the different things that go on, especially where there's been a death. And I'll tell you, they work with every municipality in the area, so very closely.
Yep. Thank you. Ron?
Yeah, thank you. I just really is going to agree with what he just said. The sheriff really works hand in hand with a lot of police departments. I know for a fact when I was with the city of Aurora, how many times the sheriff department was used on certain cases on an ongoing basis. Also, I had the pleasure of us speaking with our previous sheriff, one of our previous sheriff, Pat Perez, who very strongly expressed his opinion about how low the salary was. And it's pretty much the same money he was making back then. That was really 2 sheriffs ago.
Ron, I agree. This isn't one of those where we're looking for a, cost of living increase. In my opinion, this is a rework
Yes.
to make a significant jump to match the responsibilities. So,
Shepro.
Ken, what do you?
Okay, so this bill, which has so many amendments and sections.
I agree.
That, but it has passed both houses.
Okay.
I believe under parliamentary devices, it has not yet been formally signed and presented to the governor. So once they do that, which theoretically could take an unknown amount of time, that starts the time clock running for him to either sign it, mandatorily veto it, or veto it.
So my question to this body would be,
Yeah.
so my question to this body would be, with this legislation coming on, it sets a new minimum standard. Would we as a body be interested in increasing off the minimum? I know that I would. And I'm not talking anything, overly gratuitous.
The minimum being the 80%.
The minimum being, yes, you call it 80%, I'll voice it as 151,000. I would nudge that to the 160 mark. That's cliff. That is, I'm not speaking in a consensus for anybody. That's just me planting a seed for you to develop what you think your attitude might be. And I'm just planting that seed. Don't need a response. Just want it out there. You may personally feel, I'm happy, this is a big jump, leave them alone. On the other hand, you may say, it is deserving of so much more. I think we have enough guidelines that, you could sleep on this tonight and make some choices yourself.
Shepro comment. My
Shepro.
own feeling from talking to other board members is that this would have overwhelming support. I think people understand there's a difference between what the sheriff has to do 24 hours a day and what the people doing paperwork in their offices do 9 to 5.
Agreed.
So I think that your summary and the comments of the other committee members are likely to be reflected in a general consensus.
Thank you for pointing that out. The second item on that establishment of methodology is the comparisons. One of the things I had asked Jamie to do, we did not have any input at the advisory council, the community advisory that was put together. I had asked Jamie to just build consensus, be prepared to present data that would allow us to build consensus to make sure that those communities were communities that we felt were representative as a comparative model. Jamie, am I articulating that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Tell us your findings.
I looked
and where to find those, because I've not seen them yet. So.
Yes, there is a page within the packet that was handed out, and I can email it to anyone who's interested. That just has some county demographics for determining which counties are the best comparison to Kane County. We kind of sit in.
Is that the one that started with DeKalb, DuPage, Kendall, Lake, McHenry,
yes,
Will,
it
Winnebago?
says Kane and Collar County demographics for comparison at the top of the page. So it's
if I can ask you, are these identical to what the community advisory group did, or are these different?
I have added budget and workforce size. So they looked solely at population when they had asked for the population of those counties. And we're given that information.
But the actual counties did not change.
Right. The counties did not change.
Perfect. Thank you.
I added in here looking at both budget size and workforce size.
Could you, I'm sorry, can Blair put that up so that everyone can see it?
I don't know that.
Is it?
No, I don't know because it was not in the packet.
Are you
This was
hearing
put
this?
together at the last minute.
What are you guys doing over there? Can you get this? Did we supply this electronically to Blair, and can he get that on screen at all?
No, but I can do that.
Oh wait, we're gonna see what we can do really quick.
Hard copy?
I do, but I want to make sure that
Ron can see it. By the wizardry of a telephone, she is zooming that over.
Ma Bill.
Ma Bell, she's got it.
she may have the iPhone.
Sorry, Ron, we'll be right there. And if Ron doesn't have it, Madam Chair, we can get these out electronically to everybody.
But it's also for the public's vantage point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Blair should have it.
Okay.
Yeah. I see, yes, you can load both of them, but I think the one called Collar Counties is the one that we're looking at right now.
We'll number the pages next time. We were on the fly. We do have a deadline to get this information in by which
I think it's
May.
180
May
days
3rd.
prior to the commencement.
What was
of
our
the
deadline
term.
date?
June 3rd.
June 3rd
Third.
for the 3 offices that are elected this November,
Okay.
and the
And
24
and the county board.
24 board members.
What kind of chair doesn't put a deadline on his? Holy tamale. June 3rd.
So we have to get it passed through May, whether into
Right, so-
the board, the regular board meeting or a special board meeting.
Right. So we're zooming on this as fast as we can. So I do apologize. All right, James, you're up.
So this just lists all of the collar counties up in the northern part of Illinois, the population, their budget size as posted on their website, and their workforce size as posted on their website. And then just used a general ratio to compare their size relative to Kane. So the 4 at the bottom in yellow would be the closest to Kane based on size, budget, and workforce. If you want to look at any one, the individual ratios are included there. The 2 closest would be Lake and McHenry as smaller and larger.
The budgets. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
look at the budgets for Lake County and Will County. They're enormous compared to Kane County.
Look at the employees.
Huh?
I said, look at the employees.
Yeah, right.
Bless you.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in, are we saying that we're kind of in the middle on employee count?
We are kind of in the middle
On everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yep. So we don't have a good direct
Exactly.
comparison because we do fall in the middle.
Wow.
We're
That's
the
interesting.
5th. We're the 5th largest.
Mhm.
So we're right in the middle.
Huh.
Yeah, that statistically, that is interesting.
It's even more, Shepro, gets even more interesting if you look at particular departments.
Oh,
The finance department in Lake County is like 5 times the size of our finance.
geez.
Okay. So the point of this exercise is to just, again, this is not massaged in any way. This is to just say, if you're going to do a strict comparative analysis, it looks like we're kind of in the middle. I mean, we could say that there's people smaller than us. We could say there's people larger than us. So is it fair to say that if we're looking at our compensation should be someplace in the middle? Is that where the logic there?
Say, Shepro, I'm not sure there is logic there. I mean, it might be if you're talking about the board chair, but the number of employees is kind of irrelevant in the overall sense. If you were going to do a comparison, I would think you'd want to say, how many employees are there of the Lake County Sheriff as opposed to us? not just overall, how many employees does the county have? For example, Lake County, I know, operates its own sewer system. And so there are lots of employees that work for the sewer department, which
Specific.
we don't have.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
if you got an administrator or a county.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
So in terms, so Ken, in following your conversation, in terms of the treasurer, the sheriff, the county clerk, I don't know that any of those are impacted by employee count. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yeah, I mean, arguably the sheriff might be, just because, you know, if you're the commander of an army, it probably depends how big an army you've got. But the county clerk is
The
client facing, if you will, constituent facing.
so the duties of the office by statute don't depend on how many people the county hires to do that work. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
Yeah.
So their workload is more geared upon the constituent count. The treasurer's office and the clerk's office, the comparison might not be workforce size, but population. Would you find that to be accurate? Would that be?
Well, probably more for the sheriff and the county clerk than the treasurer, because the treasurer is kind of doing similar work. It's just, you might have more zeros added.
Okay. Okay. And again, not a debate today, just to
No.
say a couple of different ways that we can look at this. And I'm not suggesting that one is better than the other. If somebody has another way, Corrine and I had a very, if I can call you by your first name, I apologize. We had a very honest and frank conversation where I said, it is difficult for me from the private sector to do a salary type study when I'm looking at things in terms of responsibilities, deadlines, goal hitting. So, you know, so how do you do that with a sheriff? How many tickets have you written this month? I mean, how do you quantify that? Yeah, the reduction in crime, how do you quantify that?
I think you got to do it by comparison.
Right. And so comparison really becomes a stronger model in that, you know, unless there's some measurable quantity that you can use. Was that not our conversation?
That's what you're, and I said the only person or how we measure is elected officials would be the voters. That's the only measurement that can be used.
And for the record, she hit me with the frying pan when I brought that up and said, you can't, that's not the appropriate way to look at it. I didn't say it was, that's my background. So
those of us that come up through the business world, heck yeah.
yeah, it becomes profitability. It becomes, and I get it. I have to, you know, look at it from a different way. That's why I'm bringing the piece of legislation that came up for the sheriff's office, as well as some comparatives. Ken.
Comment, I sat in on the last meeting of the Citizen Advisory Group. And again, I think they were all well-meaning, but they seemed, I think, entirely dismissive of the idea of comparing the salaries to what other county officials in other counties were getting. And they latched off into a discussion of what the raises were for the union contracts, which struck me also as being kind of really not germane to the discussion. That's, I believe, where the 2% came from.
So if I can ask this question, then just to put that on the table, if you're looking at the head of the electeds, so you're looking at a sheriff, you're looking at a county clerk, you're looking at a treasurer, are those union positions or are those considered management and they're not union?
Well, they're not.
They're not subject to the 2% contractual.
Correct.
So I would tend to agree with you with that and say that's not germane to the conversation. They're management and in as much non-union, albeit I believe at the county we have always matched our union and non-union. But again, I don't know that, you know, Mark, you've been here, you know, probably you and Ken been here the long, maybe Barb, You know, is that the way we've always looked at that in terms of the management?
Remember.
Yes, in a simple word.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, we've always
yes.
been cognizant of taking care, we, go
But
through
for-
labor management, deal with union contracts, and then recognize that roughly half of our workforce is non-union.
No, but I mean the
and yet we
bosses.
value them, and then
I mean the elected guys, the guy that's in charge or lady that's in charge. How have we addressed those while all those union contracts came in and went up? Did they get a bump at all or just ignored?
Well, they were ignored for the
Ignored.
past
well, a lot of
12
it,
years.
yeah.
Okay.
That's part of the problem. And
When you rise above the rank and file area, then, the question of political will and expediency can't be ignored. It becomes a huge part of the equation. And I wish I could stay for more, but
We're enthralled.
I
I love your tie.
I think we are quick sometimes to characterize things by quantitative groups or by being part-time, and we forget the value that's involved or the return on the investment that goes into some of the people that we have, whether it's countywide or county board members. I would submit to you that it's the busiest part-time job I've ever had in my life. It depends on what you want to put into it. You're asked to be responsible for tens of millions of dollars. So, to me, it's not a traditional part-time job. On some of these others where you look at population, sort of economic theory, I mean, you can reach a point, get this wrong, backward bending curve of.
Make sure you're in your microphone so Ron and Mo can hear.
When you grow to a certain level, when you scale things up, there are some elements that at a 500,000 population, it's not vastly different than the 930,000 that DuPage has. You're playing in the big leagues kind of thing. So you have to be careful when you start doing comps.
I agree.
And look at the responsibilities of the job and the value that position brings to the task at hand.
I tend to
Solves nothing
oftentimes.
for your discussion today,
No.
but it's my thoughts on it, and I have to run.
Yeah, but Mark has heard me say this before. I oftentimes look at things in terms of thresholds, and it's a major part of who I am and the dynamics I bring to the business table. I don't always believe that a comparative model is there. I believe that there's satisfying thresholds, and one threshold might be satisfactory even if you doubled the size of things. But the minute you go past that threshold, you immediately have to take action. A 5% here, a 10% there doesn't really matter sometimes. But the minute you breach that threshold, you're in a totally different league. And I believe that, and I just don't know how to translate that here to a governmental situation. So
If I may, I'm going to throw one more.
absolutely,
thought
please.
into the pot. I came across an article as I was doing research. This was from the Daily Herald, August 23rd, 2021, where they're also considering compensation because everyone's doing it right now is the time. So this was last year. And what was remarkable is that they are reducing the size of their county board from 24 to 18. So overall reduction of costs are happening. But one of the key takeaways here is that they're asking, what do you want to do with your compensation? There currently was at 21,000, and there was a suggestion, and it had not been raised since 2012. So similar, very similar to what we're doing. I think ours has been a little bit longer than that. But their chief financial officer said that the 21,000 salary, current salary, is about 2,000 less. 12 salary is worth $2,000 less, 22, 10 years later, because of inflation.
Because of inflation.
And we have not caught up with inflation. So perhaps as another qualifier, we can ask Mr. Onzik to do that calculation so that if you had decided to keep up with the cost of inflation, and inflation rate's very easy to access for a 10-year period, what it would be currently.
And just for sake of conversation, I do believe that we have the responsibility to run some of those compensations and have those available. However, I want to be candid that of those electorates that I have spoken with, I have not had any commissioners come up to me and say, we are interested in a dime more than we're receiving now. And those 12 that are on the health insurance say, we greatly appreciate that and don't want that taken away. I do believe that this is just Cliff personally. We have members of this board that really work. And if you're a committee chair and involved in your departments, I don't understand how you're not here 4 days a week minimum. I know that I'm down here sometimes 7 different trips in a week. And, that sounds like what's the big deal? Well, it's no big deal if you live in Geneva, but if you live in, the Dundees and you've got to spend 45 minutes driving down here, come to your committee, work with your people, go home, take your 5 phone calls, meet with your municipal counterparts, go to their meetings in the evening. I agree. I agree with Mark. We are underrated with the amount of time that we put in here. And for anybody that's online or listening that says, what's the responsibilities of a county board member? Oh, it's 4 meetings a week, a month. Yeah, no, it's not. Not if you're doing this correctly. And I believe that we truly are an outstanding value for what we're receiving. And Madam Chair, for everybody that's told me I'd like to reduce the board and reduce the salaries, I get another story from somebody else that said, well, they reduced the board, they increased their salaries, or DuPage did it. And I'm going to be totally wrong with this. I'm just using it as an example. They broke down and they raised their salaries, and half of them became commissioners at a forest preserve. Half of them stayed as county board members, but they didn't really reduce their size. They just relabeled their buckets. And I said, I don't know. I've not been in this long enough. I've been here 3 years. I don't have the breadth of knowledge of saying, well, 20 years ago, this is the way it was done. All I know is $25,000 is a stipend versus the amount of time that we bring. And for those professionals that bring their background to the table, mine is an insurance. And we have proved millions of dollars of savings using that experience. We have attorneys in the room. We have financial people in the room. Yeah, I call Bill Leonard and I would call John Hoshite, 2-3 times a week to help get information put together. I believe we do have some people that are just a bargain basement value. And while I don't think I'm interested in or suggesting anything lower than 25,000, I am equally politically saying I haven't heard anybody, nor am I requesting anything more. And I do know that Mo has had this health insurance thing on the line, but just the people that I speak with that need that, it's a big deal to them. And to not offer that might mean we lose those candidates, if you will, to be commissioners. Ken?
I want to just agree with just about everything you said. I would respectfully disagree with Mr. Iqbal that everybody is a part-time employee. What's the threshold? 30
hours
30 hours
for paid insurance.
And I could tell you that there are members of this board, including you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Berman. It's 30 hours, way more than that. And a couple other things to bear in mind. And again, I don't mean to beat up on the advisory group, but while I might not disagree with their ultimate conclusion as to what the right number is, I was very disappointed that they were very dismissive of what we did. One of the members of the committee said, well, I looked at what the board members do, and I don't think they even deserve what they get now. And it just seemed to me that they did not appreciate at all what the board members and especially the committee chairs need to do, just basically to keep track of what's going on. But the other point I wanted to make is that we meet during the day.
Right. And
I know that there are board members now that I've talked to who have said, either I'm not running again because I'm going to lose my job if I keep going to all these meetings, or others who say, I am worried about that, trying to balance. I know that one member of the board during the time I was the attorney, who's now back on the board, didn't run because she needed to keep her job and feed her family. And if you are working as hard as I think some of these people of our colleagues work, and you can't have a full-time job because of that, because of the conflict between the meeting times, you need the insurance. I don't need it. I don't take it. But the people that take it, I think, need it, and they work hard. And so to me, it's just not an easy thing to say, oh, it's a perk, you shouldn't get it.
It's not a perk. It's part of the compensation package
Right.
that's offered. Yeah, Barbara?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to add to what Ken Shepro is saying. When you represent areas that are unincorporated, people call you. I mean, I go out and I actually go in the field if somebody's having a flooding issue and it's affecting their septic, or their culverts flooding and the water's backing up, whatever it may be, they call me and I go out there. That's why I love my
And
iPad.
it doesn't matter. 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, you better be there.
It doesn't matter. And when there's a big issue, let's just say in like Campton Township or Virgil Township or Plato Township, and they need me, I go, I'm there. And you can ask Drew, he's got kind of the same type of district that I do, where, I've heard other board members say, well, I've never gotten a call from a constituent ever. And I'm thinking, and actually I enjoy those calls because I get to meet new people and I know all the people in my district.
And Barb, just to tag on to that, so many times, one of the things I didn't expect from this board when I joined was I thought everything was siloed and myopic. This, I take care of the Dundees and Gilberts and could care less. No. We represent over 500,000 people.
Absolutely.
We're just elected to this little district. When Drew called and said, hey, I need your help out west of town because you know how to run a meeting. Can you come support me? Audrey and I both went down there and spent multiple evenings listening to what's the Mill Creek.
The Mill Creek.
Yeah. We went out there when they called in Elgin and said, hey, we're having some problems over here. You roll up your sleeve and honestly, Corinne, I don't know what I expected, but this board is not political. I do not see red jelly beans not willing to help blue jelly beans in any way, shape, or form. I see individuals at so many times reaching out saying, this is the problem we have. Mr. Kaios and I are obviously opposing jelly beans. I don't know how many, I would not hesitate in a second to reach out to Chris and say, hey, the forest preserve, we're having a problem here. Could you help with this? And he vice versa has called me to say, hey, you know what? I have this guy. He's right on the border of our district. You probably know this better. I don't know where else you're going to find that cooperation, but I mean, and we oftentimes, we've had several larger issues where 3 of us go and attend and try and help them work past this or whatever the issue is at hand. So that soliloquy is in support of, it's not a 30-hour-a-week job. It's a salaried position that says, if you need to put in 60 this week, great. And if that one odd month every couple of months that has the extra week in it, you're not really putting, I think Karina and I spoke 2 weeks ago and I said, oh my God, I'm looking at the agenda and there's nothing on it for this week. And she said, good, go see your kids. And I said, yes, this is the coolest thing, but short of that anomaly, I don't get it. So I don't look at this as a math problem. I look at this as the quality of individuals that we bring to the table. And that's it. And so again, I don't want to belabor this today. The goal was to get these issues out on the table, make sure that we hear. Mr. Ford, is there anything we heard from Mo? Is there anything at all that you'd like to bring up that? Ron, are you with us still?
Your soliloquy was too long.
Myrna, are you there? Is there anything that at all? And Scott Berger is asleep at his desk. Scott, did you have anything?
Muted.
I got one
Okay.
more
Sorry,
thing.
Cliff, I was just listening in. Thank you for your comments.
Okay, no, I'm just wondering if you had anything you wanted to add at all. We appreciate you listening.
No, just listening in. Thank you.
Okay, super. Ken,
I know you didn't want to make any decisions today, but I would strongly urge that this is not the right time to address the compensation of the people elected in 2024.
I could easily support that.
I think you might, may set
I
a
agree
tone,
with you.
but
Why waste our time?
yeah.
I agree with that. If the
One thing you-
majority of the group is that's
What
consensus
this
is
board
there.
does would not bind the board elected
Yeah, why
in
waste our time?
November. And for all we know, inflation will be, 60% by 2 years from now.
If we can agree as we move forward, we will put that in the minutes to say that it's the consensus here that we only look at those 4 categories that we've listed and that the other elected officials, that'll be the next round.
If I may, I think we should check with the state's attorney because I did remove my office from the first round into 24, but she suggested that it should be considered this year. So perhaps we can confer with.
I'll
with her,
contact Ms. Mosser.
just so we make sure that our dots are, I's are dotted. et cetera.
All Jamie M. Ari, County
The
Chair.
the others certainly may.
Okay.
I mean, that's also, Shepro again, that's also connected with the whole notion of an administrator.
Correct.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
the compensation is completely separate because that's a unique conversation in itself. I feel like I'm the hybrid, like Ron Hain. It's a hybrid
Yeah.
of what's happening. The other thing that I would suggest that you may want to decide today, since the salaries, the compensation, I'll say, for the elected officials are going to be set for 10 years for the county board. You don't have to, but it's probably the most appropriate way. Do you want to put in a cost of living increase? Because that's happened previously, although it was never voted upon, but that is an option. Or do you want it to remain flat for?
I think we
the
could
other
all
10
sleep
years?
on that and consider it.
Why do you say 10 years?
Well,
It changed every 2 years.
oh, sir, it can, but then some of the board members will be making more
Well,
than
Fine,
others.
that's the way it goes.
You certainly can do that. Do it that way.
Yeah, I sit with,
Absolutely.
just to,
I've gone through that, so.
Dale, I sit here with board members that have retirement benefits that I don't participate in.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Jamie Labrillo, did you have anything else in this? First off, Jamie, thank you for sitting in on this. I'm not sure this falls within your purview, but on so many other strategic items that we have going, you are involved with, it didn't make sense to exclude you from this. So I thank you so much for your hard work. Anything else that was in here that you felt we should hear before we adjourn?
No.
Okay. Ken, yes.
Yeah, just to the point about cost of living. I mean, we call it that, but we can't do it the way, you can't say we do the CPI every year. The salary that the board sets for any of the offices must be an ascertainable amount up front when you set it. So you can say, we will build in a 5% a year cost of living adjustment for the 4-year term, for example. But you got to say what it is. It has to be, we have to know what that number is today. In 2 years, you will get a 5% raise.
Project.
Not you will get a cost of living adjustment. It's got to be
Very good.
be
Absolutely.
legally, it's got to be a specific
Understood.
amount.
Dale, did you have something?
My
Your hand was up. Come on.
Yeah.
I know we all want to go to lunch and I've got blood sugars dropping. So
Oh,
let's,
My thought was that,
They're done it.
I know.
each of us has already got in our own minds what we should do, okay? Or at least what we think we might want to do. Maybe we should, each of us jot those things down and make sure we have something to discuss.
Do not respond to all.
No, I know, I understand.
That email, I got my hand slapped on the very first.
It's
email.
like the jury taking a straw vote before.
Yeah, just,
Put a number in the hat.
you know what, please have your conversations one-on-one over the phone. Speak with your fellow board members, be a representative to bring it back, you know, and feel free to email me to congeal it into, you know, into one report to be able to say, here, this is what came from, you know, anonymous source ABC, but this is what we're hearing. Happy to do that. And Jamie knows I usually will ask her to do that so that it's not being manipulated by me or any accusations thereof.
Mhm.
Barbara, and then we'll ask Mo if he had
Elected
anything else.
officials. Okay.
I just
That's,
want
you
to
know,
thank
no, that's-
Jamie also for her hard work. I think we're blessed with some of the best employees at our county than any other county. So thank you.
Oh, do you have anything else? Are you still on? He's gone. Okay, Ron Ford, are you back? Do you have anything else? All right, in the words of Mr. Kenyon, do we have a, when would you like to meet again?
I don't have my,
Is this okay to do after a meeting, or do you want to have a separate day?
Oh, you can't do it till May 10th. No, you got to do it sooner. Your next meeting, our next meeting is May 10th.
I'm sorry, what is our
May
next
10th
meeting?
of the board meeting to do it directly after. I thought that's what you were.
Oh, no, I
referencing.
meant after, it could be after a executive meeting. It could be after a.
I had just had an anxiety.
No. I'm asking, do you want to, or do you just want to say, hey, listen, we'll. Okay, so can we meet next week? Is there a preferred day next week? Does anybody know what's on the schedule for next week?
Don't put it on a date where it's likely to go past start afternoon, after 12 noon.
Next week, in the mornings, 2 meetings, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Health director meeting is on Monday.
Are any of you guys on health?
On the search committee?
Yeah. What time is that? Blair, what time is
10
that?
o'clock, 10 o'clock.
That could be a lengthy meeting, right?
Yeah, it may be. It may
That
be.
might be a lengthy meeting.
It's probably going to be about at least an hour and a half.
You got Tuesday is transportation development, Wednesday is public legislative.
Can Tuesday afternoon work?
Next Tuesday afternoon. What's Tuesday morning? Is that transportation?
Public health. Oh, Tuesday.
So,
Are you on either of those?
I'm not.
So you don't have to like come in the morning and hang.
I'll
around
come,
all
that's all
day.
right. Doesn't matter. It's only 30 hours. Let's try.
on both, anytime.
So
what are you on?
Oh, Tuesday, transportation and development.
Oh, I am. too.
Anytime after that.
Were you on Tuesday? Then why don't we make it
Both,
Tuesday?
so.
Yeah. Tuesday, what time, Blair?
You got your 9 to 10 and 10 to 11 are scheduled.
What time is your transportation? Are you at 10 o'clock?
9 to 10.
Development is 10,
and transportation's next.
9. Yeah.
What's after transportation?
Development.
Are either of you on development?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd have to go after, how long does he usually
11
roll?
o'clock.
11, he's done?
Development's.
Why don't we say
pretty fast.
11:15? That way there can be a break in case they run over.
Okay. So if Karen, if you could put down 11:15 Tuesday,
We can get that
we
published.
could post that, that would
Yeah.
be great.
I will need an agenda.
Or just say 11 o'clock or immediately.
And you will
following.
have an agenda by, she will have an agenda by Thursday?
Sure, you'll look
Sure.
along
Whenever
like
you
That's
need
a
it
good
by, we'll
answer.
have it done.
That's a good answer. Yes, I will bring lunch that day. How's that? Honestly, honestly, I will bring lunch. That'd be
Just
great.
use all the leftover boxes from
Yeah, from today.
today.
Okay. Motion for adjournment till, adjournment till,
Yeah, I motion to adjourn.
I didn't get the date,
April 19th.
19th,
Ah, Patriots say,
Tuesday, 4/19.
Second.
Battle of Concord
Perfect.
and.
All in favor?
Oklahoma- And Oklahoma City.